Sometimes we say the map is not the territory. Right? And improving confidence in a way depends upon what an individual coach needs in order to feel confident. People are different in terms of what they need to be present to be able to feel confident. Generally speaking, as a sort of a general rule, we say learn the models inside out, learn the map, and then forget the map. Now, for most people that are beginning, if they feel well prepared, they're more likely to be able to bring confidence into their game in a particular session. So definitely, so what does it mean to feel well prepared? Well, firstly, understand, go back to basics again and again and again, understand the models, understand the tools that we offer, but also, more importantly, understand the first principle behind the tool. What's the tool doing? Why do we ask particular questions in a particular way? Try to understand what are the first principles behind the various methods that are being taught to you. And if you understand the first principles, then you don't have to worry about the models anymore. You kind of know what coaching is doing and why. But at the beginning, at the very, very beginning, you need to, become familiar with the models and the tools and the frameworks that are taught, whether it's by us or whoever's teaching you. Another thing that is always useful to do is what we call neural priming. So neural priming is where you orient yourself to the session before the session. You ask yourself some questions like, reminding yourself what are the client's goals or what they were, what happened in previous conversations, and in particular, reminding yourself what might happen in, it's like making not being married to the prediction, but asking yourself what might go wrong in this session that might undermine my confidence. And now, while the seas are calm before the session, how would I love to be able to respond when and if this happens in the session? Right. So that's kind of knowing what might, it's almost knowing what is my own growth edge for that session. What is it that I am working on in this session? What is my own improvement goal for this session? What is my practice for this session? Oriented as far as possible with, what's happened in previous sessions. How have you become unbalanced? What has undermined your confidence in previous sessions with this particular client? And then reflecting back on that and asking yourself, ideally, how would I have loved to have been able to show up in that particular situation? And that gives you some chance of getting ahead of it next time. So having a conversation with yourself before the session about what might happen and how would I love to be able to respond when it happens. And that makes it much more likely that you can bring that forth. And then just making sure that if you do become agitated during the session, if you feel that you're going a bit off balance and maybe confidence is waning, just bring yourself back to the present moment. Take a couple of breaths, take a pause, feel your feet on the ground, feel your hands on your lap maybe. Just take a pause and, and maybe you can even think about asking one of those wild card questions that I love so much. Like such questions as, okay, so what's happening with you right now? Or, so what are you learning from what's been said so far? What are you learning from what you are saying? Or what are you learning from what you are thinking about yourself, about your situation, about your goal, about what you really care about? Questions like this bring you back. They interrupt your own negative mental pattern that might be running with you and bring you back to focusing on the client. What are you learning right now? What are you thinking about right now? What are you learning from what you're thinking about right now? All these are great questions and they sound good and they bring you back. It actually sounds like you're being a coach when you ask questions like this. It makes you feel that you know what you're doing, even if you're off balance. And that'll give you space, because almost invariably when you ask questions like this, the client goes into a reflective mode, which gives you more time and space. You can see that your clients, you know, maybe their eyes are moving like this, or maybe they might say, oh yeah, good question, or something like that. And that, of course, brings you back to your senses.